Alright, watch this if you want to know what went down with Musk and Trump and what really is behind all the turmoil. Is SpaceX in danger? We are blasting our way towards Flight 10. Are you ready to pick up the pace with us? Booster 16 is already static firing at the pad and ships are rapidly assembling, including Raptor 3. Is SpaceX really building 4 more Starship towers in Florida? My name is Felix, welcome to What About It, let's dive right in. Starship updates. So if you were anywhere near the internet last week, you witnessed, two people having an argument. Elon Musk and the President of the United States decided to have it out for the entire world to see. It's a shift that has been quietly underway for a while now. The president posted that canceling SpaceX's government contracts would be an easy way to save billions and billions from the deficit that plagues the US economy. Musk responded that SpaceX would begin decommissioning its Dragon spacecraft immediately. That post has been deleted by now, so there is likely no danger of this actually happening. But what's behind all this? Is this actually true? Let's just play pretend and see what this would mean for spaceflight. What if SpaceX and the US government actually stopped collaborating? One very important question must be answered. Does the US government save money if SpaceX is kicked out? If we zoom out, we see how important SpaceX has become at this point. America literally doesn't have any other proven and ready vehicle to carry astronauts to space. SpaceX's Dragon spacecraft has been the workhorse of NASA's commercial crew and resupply programs for years. It carried both American and international astronauts to orbit when there were almost no other options and has restored domestic launch capability after the retirement of the space shuttle. It's been a reliable, proven vehicle ever since. So, would the US save money without SpaceX? The president stated that canceling SpaceX's contracts would be an easy way to save billions of dollars. Let's fact check. Since 2012, SpaceX's Cargo Dragon has delivered supplies to the ISS, and from 2020, Crew Dragon has started carrying astronauts to the station. These missions are cost-effective. Sending an astronaut on Crew Dragon costs about $55 million per seat. Cargo Dragon runs $140 million per mission, hauling up to 6,000 kilograms. Over 13 years, SpaceX transported 44 astronauts and flew 32 cargo missions, costing NASA roughly $2.4 billion for crew and $4.5 billion for cargo, $6.9 billion in total. That sounds expensive. But what would the alternative have cost the US? Without SpaceX, NASA would have relied on pricier alternatives. For astronauts, Russia's Soyuz was the go-to after the space shuttle stopped flying, while Boeing's Starliner never went into service as planned. NASA is saying it will get another test flight of Starliner in 2026. What happens after that is unclear. Soyuz is likely not an option anymore because of political tensions, but let's pretend it was fully available for the sake of the argument. Soyuz seats cost $86 million each, over 50% more than Dragon. For 44 astronauts that SpaceX has sent up since it started flying Crew Dragon, that's $3.8 billion. Just to have mentioned it, Starliner would cost $90 million per seat if operational, even more than Soyuz. So crew transport alone would have cost NASA an extra $1.4 billion. But the ISS needs more than just personnel. For cargo, NASA would have used Northrop Grumman's Cygnus, Russia's Progress, or Japan's HTV, also known as Konotori. These cost $225 million to $325 million per mission and carry less, some as little as 2,500 kilograms. To match SpaceX's 160,000 kilograms of cargo delivered, NASA might have needed 51 missions, costing about $8 billion. That's $3.5 billion more than SpaceX's $4.5 billion. Without SpaceX, NASA would have paid nearly $5 billion extra since 2012. SpaceX's reusable rockets and commercial approach saved NASA a fortune and reduced reliance on Russia's Soyuz. So no, the US would not save money if SpaceX were booted out. The Dragon era is already winding down. SpaceX has said it, NASA knows it, and the numbers back it up. SpaceX has been accepting fewer Crew Dragon missions over the past year, and no new Dragon capsules are being built beyond the existing ones. The whole program is slowly phasing out. Why? Because Starship is meant to replace it. Starship isn't just SpaceX's future, it's NASA's too. It's a vital part of the Artemis program, as well as future cargo, future crew, deep space transport, and even potential replacements for ISS logistics. It all points to Starship. The only reason Dragon is still flying at all is that Starship isn't ready yet. If SpaceX were to leave now, it would have catastrophic consequences for US spaceflight. Without Dragon, there is no backup plan. Boeing's Starliner just completed its first crew test flight, with the pilot commenting after the flight that he wasn't sure if they could get back home on Starliner. And as you might know, they didn't. NASA and SpaceX flew them back on a Crew Dragon. Starliner is years behind schedule and still facing reliability questions, as the entire world was able to see. NASA did announce that the earliest a Starliner capsule could have another mission would be early next year. It is not even decided if it'll be a cargo or crewed mission. Other alternatives are even further out, leaving Starship as one of the best next generation solutions. And as odd as this saga has been, it can always get weirder. Late Thursday night, a seemingly anonymous person on X chimed in response to Musk's Dragon tweet advising calm and composure. While many perceived this account as a savior, it is very likely that this just demonstrated how little substance these posts had. The US government won't cancel SpaceX's contracts, and SpaceX won't cancel Dragon for now. Crew Dragon is a cost-effective and very reliable spacecraft. It gives the US an advantage over every other spacefaring nation in the world, and Starship, once operational, will widen the gap even further. Before we start with the next very important question, if SpaceX is in danger, let's have a quick look at today's sponsor. Turning your ideas into something real, that is the magic moment. For us, it started with a simple goal: share our love for space with our enthusiasts. But how do you turn a dream into reality? That's where Shopify came in. Shopify isn't just a store builder, it's a powerhouse toolkit for creators. And their Magic Media Editor, a total game changer. I uploaded a simple product image and boom, it suggested backgrounds, polished up the lighting, and even generated new versions. It's like having a design assistant built right in. It's made running our Y-Print store feel effortless and yeah, kind of addicting. Especially paired with the live view, seeing people exploring the store in real time. It's more than building a store, it's building momentum. So if you've been sitting on an idea, big or small, just start. Shopify knows what we need. Head to shopify.com/whataboutit to start your free trial today. Let Shopify help you launch your vision like they did for us. I mean, it's perfect. Start your trial right now by going to shopify.com/whataboutit. Alright, back to the topic. Is SpaceX in danger? Is Starship sustainable? We mentioned last week that SpaceX's Starlink revenue is on pace to eclipse NASA's entire budget. This is a boon for SpaceX as it helps them to continue to fund Starship development. But how long can they do this? Elon said back in 2021 that it costs the company around $5 million to build a single Starship prototype, and SpaceX is currently bringing in around $10 to $12 billion a year in total space-related revenue. This number has roughly doubled since 2022. Yes, you heard that right, doubled in 3 years. And there is no reason to expect it'll slow down anytime soon. SpaceX has cracked an important problem it created itself. What do we send up with rockets that can launch every other day? Per Musk, SpaceX projects about $15.5 billion in revenue this year, and about $11.8 billion of that is from Starlink alone, and the numbers are to go even higher as more customers are brought online. Starlink and Falcon 9 are in perfect synergy. An extremely cheap, in-house produced, partly reusable rocket sends mass-produced in-house satellites to space. And that is what pays for Starship at large, not the US government. To date, SpaceX has spent roughly $5 billion on Starship as a whole, and estimates from NASDAQ say that the company will likely push that number to $10 billion before it is completed. I expect these numbers to be a bit higher, but it makes no difference. Again, this is all less than SpaceX's current annual revenue. By comparison, NASA has allocated roughly $24 billion into SLS in 15 years with one launch to show for it. What should be obvious from these numbers is that Starship is not going anywhere. At $5 million per Starship prototype, SpaceX could hypothetically pour all its Starlink revenue into 2,360 ships per year. It obviously will not do that, but the issue isn't SpaceX running out of money. While it's tempting to speculate how others might step in, no other provider can sustainably fund their own programs without external support. We know other companies like Rocket Lab have ambitions to either build crew-certified vehicles or improve existing ones like Boeing. Also, NASA aims to approve $4.1 billion in the new NASA budget for SLS, keeping Artemis 4 and 5 on the books, so that's another option. However, these are still years from carrying people to space or too expensive to service the ISS. Crew Dragon does that right now. The point here is that Crew Dragon, the only vehicle readily available to astronauts in the US, is too important to be lost in an internet war of words between two people, and the US cannot afford to lose any more ground with China in the current space race. And Starship, currently unfinished and still in development, is more than fully funded. These are some fundamental questions, and I am very happy to have finally answered them in detail. Are there any open questions? Let me know in the comments. I'll as always make sure to read as many as I can. Let's talk below. Do not trust any random headline you find online. Watch why. We'll make very sure to bring things into relevant context. Reporting about these things in a true and well-researched way is a team effort. And creating Why episodes is a team effort too. Even if you don't know it yet, you're very much a part of this team and can help me out easily. Our channel metrics show over 4 million returning monthly viewers who have not subscribed yet. Help ensure that we can keep reporting. Hit the subscribe button to stay up to date with our updates. Like this video if you appreciate the content and become a Y supporter for extra content. Hit the join button. Secure your access to up to 7 picture galleries per week, satellite, aerial and ground photos and 3D animations. Chat with me and gain more insights on the topic you love. The entire team is waiting for you. You rock. Next big thing, how far away are we from Flight 10? We all want to see progress, so here it is. After an abort on its initial static fire attempt on Thursday, Booster 16 took a deep breath and belched out an 8-second blast of flames on Friday afternoon. Flight 9 was just 10 days ago. That's an incredible turnaround for Pad 1. And why am I calling it Pad 1, not A, as I always did? Because Dan Hewitt is worried about future generations. He posted on X and cleared it up. It's Pads 1 and 2 and not A and B. Thanks, Dan. The fast booster static fire is part of a rapidly increasing pace at Starbase. Elon Musk mentioned after Flight 9 that the next 3 flights would be in rapid succession, as short as 3 to 4 weeks apart. And he meant it. We are certainly seeing the pace. Could we be 2 to 3 weeks away from Flight 10? I think so. All appeared to go well with the static fire, so now the wait is on to see which ship Booster 16 will be mated with. Both ships 36 and 37 have completed cryotesting at Massey's, but neither has begun its static fire campaign. My bet is still on 36. What do you think? As Block 3 development ramps up more and more, we mentioned last week that a surefire sign of this testing would be Raptor 3 engine sightings at Starbase. And look what we've got here. Tucked away in a trailer with SN08 marked on the side, a Raptor 3 engine appears to be delivered for testing. We're still at least 3 flights away from seeing Block 3 ships and boosters take to the sky, but we can expect these sightings to only get more frequent. Bring on the Raptor 3 herd. This means we're very close to seeing Block 3 hardware, at least on the test stands. And if you want to see progress up close and personal, check out redlineheli.com/Felix for a once-in-a-lifetime experience and $25 off flying in a helicopter above Starbase. The Redline helicopter team is waiting for you. They'll show you the same views our photographer gets on his Starbase flights. Give it a try. Here comes the next sign that Starship is a long-term thing at Starbase. After months of quiet build-up, we now know the identity of a major industrial partner setting up shop in Brownsville to support Starbase. Now, who's that going to be? The company is Linde, a global supplier of industrial gases originally from Germany and with deep ties to aerospace. City officials had been teasing the arrival of a key SpaceX supplier for months, but held back on naming the company until it was ready to go public. Linde is building a new air separation plant in the North Brownsville Industrial Park. The site is located at 7245 Industrial Circle and will become one of the city's largest industrial footprints. The initial investment is valued at $100 million. So why Linde and why now? Linde is no stranger to rocketry. The company supplies cryogenic liquids like oxygen and hydrogen for launch systems, as well as specialty gases and powdered metals for manufacturing rocket engine components. NASA's space launch system relied on Linde's liquid oxygen and hydrogen during Artemis 1. And now with Starship, SpaceX uses similar cryogenic propellants on an even larger scale. Bringing Linde to Brownsville gives SpaceX a local, stable supply of critical propellants. This cuts transit time and simplifies logistics. As Starbase ramps up and HLS missions near, demand for high-volume gases will only grow. There's more and more visual evidence that SpaceX is now shifting away from Block 2 hardware and moving into the next iteration of Starship and booster production. One of the clearest signs is the appearance of a new construction jig with a taller, more complex design. It's far too large to fit inside the current factory structures, which suggests it may be headed for Megabay 2 for now and later relocate to the new and much larger Gigabay. Meanwhile, the older downcomer jig used for Block 2 ships has been moved to the scrapyard. When core tooling like this gets discarded, it almost always means a major design shift is underway. Block 2 is being phased out. Version 3 style clamps have also been staged near Highway 4. Inside the ring construction area, one of the white factory stands was moved into the factory and a new one is under construction. That kind of readiness suggests that the final interface alignment is already underway. Block 3 exclusively from here on. Down at Pad 2, the launch mount for Block 3 is evolving too. Water manifolds are finalized and brackets have been installed for retractable quick disconnect systems. The trench infrastructure is being finished piece by piece. So while there has been no official announcement, the signs are unmistakable. Old jigs are gone and new ones are arriving, and everything from the base to the pad hardware is already being shaped by what comes next. SpaceX is preparing to bring Starship to Florida in a much bigger way. But they are not just adding a few upgrades to LC-39A as we've shown before. What they are proposing at Cape Canaveral is a full-scale Starship launch complex built from the ground up on another site altogether. Wait, another? At Kennedy Space Center, LC-39A is already seeing some Starship work. This is the same pad that launches Falcon Heavy, Crew Dragon, and even NASA Artemis hardware. SpaceX has quietly started modifying it to support Starship. They've begun constructing a launch mount and installed a propellant tank farm for methane and liquid oxygen. There's also a single integration tower similar to the one at Starbase designed to stack the booster and upper stage vertically. In short, 39A has always been understood to be the next big Starship pad at the Cape. Now look south to Slick 37. This is where these new plans are really exciting. SpaceX has proposed demolishing the entire Delta IV pad and replacing it with a dedicated Starship launch and recovery complex. Yeah, complex. This is part of the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, and the plans call for 2 vertical integration towers, 2 launch mounts, and 2 booster landing pads with another 2 towers dedicated to catching returning vehicles. There would be also a massive tank farm, flare stacks for methane venting, a high-volume deluge system, new pipelines, and recovery zones for returned hardware. This site is not meant for occasional use. The FAA draft allows up to 76 Starship launches per year from Slick 37. It also approves up to 152 landings annually, which includes land-based, sea-based, and even potential return-to-launch site operations for both the booster and ship. So contrary to what we believed until now, while 39A is being adapted to fit Starship alongside other priorities, Slick 37 is being transformed into a purpose-built Starship hub. This is important because this is where the high-frequency flights would happen in the future, and this is the pad SpaceX wants to rely on when Starship moves from development to production and deployment. Right now, everything is still under review. The FAA has published the draft environmental impact statement and the public comment period is active. Once that closes, they'll issue a final version and a formal record of decision. Only after that can SpaceX apply for site-specific launch licenses tied to these new Starship pads. While that might sound like a lengthy process, they could have a decision by this fall. Construction hasn't started yet, but the blueprint is there. If approved, Florida won't just support Starship, it could become the most active Starship launch site in the world. Japan's iSpace has suffered a second failed moon landing. Why is it so hard to land on the moon? The company's lunar lander named Resilience was aiming for a touchdown at Mare Frigoris on June 5th, just after 3:17 p.m. Eastern Time. But about a minute and 45 seconds before the scheduled landing, telemetry showed the spacecraft descending far too fast. Around 187 kilometers per hour, and then all data was cut out. Hours later, iSpace issued a statement. Their onboard laser rangefinder used to measure altitude failed to return valid data in time. Without that information, the lander didn't slow down enough for a safe touchdown, and the company now believes Resilience made a hard landing and was lost. Yeah, with that last speed measurement, very likely. This marks iSpace's second attempt to reach the lunar surface. The first ended in a crash back in April 2023 after a software glitch caused the vehicle to believe it had landed while it was still 5 kilometers in the air. This time, the failure appears unrelated. It was linked to new hardware that replaced the discontinued sensor used on Mission 1, but the outcome was the same. Resilience carried a wide range of commercial and scientific payloads. These included a water electrolyzer experiment, a deep space radiation probe, and even an art installation called the Moon House, designed to challenge our perspective on human presence in space. Not the Moon House. The mission's largest payload was Tenacious, a 5-kilogram rover developed by iSpace's European team. There's actually something pretty special about that rover. If the landing had succeeded, the rover would have collected lunar regolith and transferred ownership of it to NASA under a symbolic $5,000 contract. Why is that? It was part of an early effort to establish legal precedent for space resource rights. I'm actually working on a video just about that topic right now. Expect that in the near future. Despite the failure, iSpace is not slowing down. Their next mission will use an entirely new lander design and is scheduled for 2027. Mission 3, built by the company's US branch, will fly under NASA's CLIPS program aboard Draper's payload lander. That's it for today. Before watching the bloopers, remember to smash the like button. Subscribe for more. This is what fuels the algorithm, and this is how you can help us for free. Check out our epic shirts in your favorite Space Nerd store. Our new Raptor design and our Flight 9 shirt are both up. Link is in the description and in the card you should see now. Also check out our print store at shop.whataboutit.space to buy a picture for your favorite wall. Flight 9 pictures are in the shop. A significant amount of every purchase goes directly to our photographer Jordan, and if you want to learn about SpaceX's Raptor engine and how it is completely revolutionizing spaceflight, watch this video next to continue your journey. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again in the next episode. Again, this is yes. Would begin. Yes. That's what I wanted to say.